Dear students, as per your request in the Google Meet session, so I am recreating this video. So since we had some technical problem, so you had some problems in seeing the picture, so the picture quality was very less. So for this reason I am going to recreate this video, and I have already deleted the old one in the YouTube as well as in the Google Classroom, so that you will not have any confusion in the video. So this session is the continued part of our previous section, that is electrochemistry. So in our previous class we have seen what is meant by conductance. So before that, what is resistance and what is meant by conductance, and what is specific conductance. So specific conductance is the conductance of a solution placed between two electrodes having an area of 1 square meter each and placed 1 meter apart. So this is what the definition of specific conductance says. In the same way, so it is the conductance of an electrolyte due to all the ions obtained from 1 gram equivalent weight of the electrolyte at a given concentration is called as equivalent conductance. And we also understood what is the relationship between equivalent conductance and specific conductance. So this is the equation which defines what relationship does the equivalent conductance and the specific conductance has. So lambda, which is equals to K divided by 1000 C. So here lambda is called as equivalent conductance and K is called as the specific conductance. So now in this session, so let us discuss how to determine equivalent conductance of a solution of an electrolyte. So before understanding how to determine the equivalent conductance, so we should know how we measure the resistance. So here, this is what the figure which explains how the connections are made to determine the resistance of a given unknown solution. So here, A and B is a uniform resistance wire, and a sliding contact D is moved along the resistance wire. So a source of alternating current is connected to ends A, B of the bridge. So the variable resistance box, so this is the variable resistance box, is introduced into the gap between A and C of the bridge. So the conductivity cell is immersed between B and C. Okay, so the C is connected to the sliding contact through a headphone. So this is how the connections are made. So what is the procedure? So a conductivity cell is rinsed with the solution whose resistance is required. So a solution in which we have to determine the resistance, that means how much it will not allow the electricity to pass through it. So that determination of that particular solution is taken, and the conductivity cell is rinsed first. Okay, and then it is dipped into the same solution taken in the beaker, that unknown solution, the solution in which we have to measure the resistance, how much resistance does that solution has. So to that solution we are going to immerse the conductivity cell. Okay, and care has to be taken to see that the two electrodes are completely immersed. A known resistance R1. So we should have a known resistance R1, because we have to compare the resistance of the unknown solution with the known resistance. So that is why a known resistance R1 is introduced in the resistance box. The sliding contact is moved along the wire, that is the resistance wire A and B. So the sliding contact is moved along the A and B, and we are going to measure the balance point where the sound in the headphone is either 0 or minimum is found out. Okay, and next so the length between A and D and B and D is measured or noted down. So with the help of this equation, so we are going to calculate the resistance. Okay, so R1 divided by R2 is equals to AD. That is AD is the distance between this resistance wire A and D. So this sliding contact is going to stay in one position where we will observe the resistance as a 0 or minimum is found through the headphone. Okay, so A and B is AD and DB is noted. So by rearranging the equation, so we are going to get R2 is equals to, so R1 is known, R1 is already known, as I told, a known resistance cell or conductivity cell is also used. With the help of a known resistance R1, so we are going to measure the unknown resistance or unknown solutions resistance with the help of this equation. Okay, and next is so how to determine equivalent conductance of a solution of an electrolyte. So the specific conductance K is given by the relation 1 divided by R into L by A. Okay, so here R is the resistance and L is the distance between the two electrodes and A is the area. Here L divided by A is called as a cell constant and it is equal to K and R. So it is measured by finding the resistance offered to our conductivity cell by N divided by 10 KCl, whose specific conductance is found to be 1.289 Siemens meter inverse. Okay, so here, so this the specific conductance of KCl is taken as the known conductance. With the help of this, we are going to find out the unknown specific conductance, that is the unknown solutions specific conductance we are going to measure with the help of known specific conductance. So what next? So next we have to find out the resistance offered by the given solution to the same conductivity cell is measured. Okay, so we have to measure the resistance. For that purpose, so we will use this procedure to find out the resistance. Once after finding out the resistance and also by knowing the cell constant, so specific conductance is calculated. Once we know the specific conductance, so equivalent conductance is then calculated using this equation, that is lambda is equals to K divided by 1000 C. Okay, so if you know the specific conductance and if you know the concentration, by substituting it into this equation, so we can easily find out the equivalent conductance of a solution of an electrolyte. And how the calculations are made. So as I told, so the conductance cell is removed from the beaker and it is washed with water, rinsed with the given solution and then dipped into the same solution taken in the beaker. Okay, and this is how the resistance offered by it is then measured. So from the equation, so the resistance offered will be known, which is called as R1, and the specific conductance of KCl, so this is the known specific conductance. The KCl's specific conductance is 1.289 Siemens meter inverse, and cell constant L divided by A, which is equals to the specific conductance into R1. Okay, so by substituting this value, so we can calculate the cell constant. And next is a specific conductance. So the resistance offered by the given electrolyte, that is R2 ohms, then the specific conductance of the solution. So the known specific conductance and the specific conductance of the given solution, if we know this value, so then if we substitute to this equation, so we are going to get the specific conductance. By knowing the value of L divided by A, which is called as cell constant, and by knowing the value of R2, that is resistance offered by the given electrolyte, so the specific conductance is calculated. And how do we calculate the equivalent conductance? So the concentration of the solution should be known. Okay, so what is the concentration of the solution? That we can find out by different methods, like we can do titration, or we can measure it through experimental, or by using electric devices like potentiometry or any other. In some way we are going to find out the concentration of the solution. And once after finding out the concentration of the solution, so here in the same way, how we are going to calculate the specific conductance here, in the same way we are going to calculate the specific conductance, and by substituting the values of the concentration and also the specific conductance, so we can calculate equivalent conductance. Okay, so this is how we are going to do the calculation. Based on these equations, these simple equations, so now let us discuss four simple problems. Since this is a very simple problem where we have to just substitute the given values to the equations what we have seen here, just like how to calculate the specific conductance, so this equation we will use, and how to calculate the equivalent conductance, so this equation. By using this equation, how to calculate or how to find out specific conductance of an unknown solution and also the equivalent conductance of the unknown solution can be understood by looking at these problems. So the first problem says that specific conductance of the solution of an electrolyte is 0.1022 Siemens meter inverse. Okay, so here specific conductance is given and he is asking us to calculate the equivalent conductance, and he is giving the concentration of the solution too. The concentration of the solution is 0.1 normal. So here the given data is so specific conductance is known, concentration is known. So now we have to calculate lambda, that is equivalent conductance. So lambda is equals to K into V. Okay, so substitute the values here. So the cell constant value which is needed, so that is not applied here, because since we are taking the value of V, so we are just substituting the value, and then we are going to get 0.1022 into 10 raised to minus 3 divided by 0.1. So this is because so the equation of equivalent conductance is reversed, that is the 1000 C has been divided, so that is why if 1000 goes to the numerator, so we will get 1000 minus 3. By substituting these values and doing the calculation, we are going to find out the equivalent conductance of a solution. In the same way, the second problem explains that, so here he has given the equivalent conductance and he is asking to calculate the specific conductance. Okay, so in this he has also giving what is the concentration of the solution, just reverse of this problem. Okay, so just opposite to this problem, he is asking here to calculate the specific conductance. So first let us note down what and all the informations has been given in the problem. Concentration is given and equivalent conductance is given. So these are the two data which we have in this problem, and we know that lambda is equals to K into V, so that is equivalent conductance. So let me deduce this equation and then rearranging this equation. So K I will take to the left hand side, so that is a specific conductance, that is because I want to calculate specific conductance, that is why K I am taking it to the right hand side, and then the equation becomes 1000 into lambda into C, and lambda we know what is the value and the concentration we know. By substituting that value, so we are going to get the specific conductance of a unknown solution. And next is in this problem, so the specific conductance of decinormal solution of KCl was found to be 1.12 Siemens meter inverse at 18 degrees centigrade. The resistance of a conductivity cell dipped in the solution was found to be 55 ohms. Calculate the cell constant. Here he is asking us to calculate the cell constant. Okay, so we have noted down what and all the data has been given in this problem. So here he is giving the resistance, and he is asking us to calculate L divided by A. Just like the previous problem, we are rearranging the equation, we are writing it in the form of L divided by A, because that is what is needed, and that will be taken to the left hand side, so which will be equal to the specific conductance into the resistance. Okay, so by substituting the value, resistance he has given and also the specific conductance he has given, by substituting the value we can find out what is the cell constant of the particular solution. And this is another simple problem, that is a fourth one. The resistance of 0.01 normal solution of an electrolyte was found to be 210 ohms. So here also he has given the resistance at 25 degrees centigrade. Calculate equivalent conductance of the solution if cell constant is 88 meter inverse. So the same equation to find out the equivalent conductance which we are going to use, that only has been taken here, and we are going to rearrange the equation. We will take k to the left hand side so that we will get this equation, because here what is given is so given he has given the resistance, so I have to use the resistance. So before that I have to find out the cell constant, that is L divided by A. Okay, so by using this data, so we are going to substitute the given value here, which will give the value of equivalent conductance of the solution. Okay, so cell constant is given, so cell constant is given and also resistance is given. So by substituting that value, 1 divided by 210 into 88, so 88 is the cell constant and resistance is 210 ohms. By substituting that, so we are going to get the value, that is equivalent conductance. And next is the Debye-Huckel theory. So Debye-Huckel theory is the modern theory of strong electrolytes which explains their behavior in solutions. According to this theory, strong electrolytes are completely ionized at all dilutions. Okay, strong electrolytes means so those chemicals which are going to get dissociated clearly. That means we can take the example of sodium chloride or sodium hydroxide. So they get dissociated like Na plus and OH minus clearly at all dilutions. Even if the saturation crosses, then we cannot say that it has been completely ionized, but for a certain concentration, so we will see the sodium hydroxide or sodium chloride or KCl solutions to appear in a clear way. That means no turbidity or no small particles are visible. It will get completely ionized in the water. That too, especially if we use distilled water and all, it will clearly get ionized. Still, if see, the main thing is for conductance, so the ionization has to take place. That is because so the electrochemistry principle or the reaction is based on the two electrodes what we are going to use, and the electricity is passed to the solutions with the help of those electrodes, and we will check how the movement of ions are going to take place. Okay, with that data we are going to measure specific conductance, equivalent conductance and many other parameters. So that is why it is very important to check that the chemical gets ionized clearly. Okay, so even though the strong electrolytes are completely ionized at all dilutions, still equivalent conductance is less in concentrated solution. That is what I said, as the concentration increases, as it reaches the saturation level, so definitely the ionization will be reduced or decreased. Okay, so it goes on increasing as the solution is diluted. The ionization increases. That means the formation of cations and anions increases as the solution goes on diluted. This is due to the fall in mobilities of ions as a result of interionic attractions. The decrease in mobilities is accounted for by the following factors. So what are the factors which leads the decrease in ionization? So that is, the first topic is asymmetric effect or relaxation effect. So in solution, each ion is surrounded by ions of opposite charge, forming an ionic atmosphere. Okay, so when we prepare a solution, say take an example of sodium chloride itself. Say for example, this is sodium, that is Na plus. So this is Na plus, and all the chloride ions, that is Cl minus, will be surrounded with the surrounded to the sodium ion. Okay, so how the arrangement will be? in the absence of electric field. This is especially in the absence of electric field. So what happens is the ionic atmosphere will be symmetrical. If you can see here, so the distance between this sodium and this chloride and this chloride, and here the distance between the two chloride ions also so is symmetrical, and the force of attraction on the central ion is uniform in all directions. Okay, so if we can observe this picture, we can clearly understand that. So the attraction between this sodium and chloride ion is uniform in all directions. Okay, as a result, so when an electric field is applied, so this is the representation of a electric field. When it is applied, a symmetric ionic atmosphere is observed. Okay, the positive ion move towards the cathode and the negative ionic atmosphere move towards the anode. Okay, so here the positive ion move towards the cathode and the negative ions move towards the anode as shown in this figure B. Now a large number of negative ions are found on the anode side. Okay, so large number of negative ions are found in the anode side. Hence the positive ion experiences a force which pulls it backwards, and this decreases the velocity of the ion. Since the negative ions will be attracted towards the anode, so this attraction will pull this positive ion to move towards the cathode, and it will have a decrease in the velocity. So the movement of this positive ion will not be that much easier, so it will face a decrease. That is because of these negative ions which will get attracted towards this anode. Okay, so this phenomenon is known as asymmetric effect. The moving positive ion leaves behind the old ionic atmosphere and builds a new atmosphere, so that the symmetry is rectified. But the rate of formation of the new atmosphere is slower than that of a decay of the old atmosphere. Okay, so slowly, so these negative ions, that is anions, they will start creating their own new atomic or atmosphere, and the asymmetry is rectified. Again we will see a circular symmetry, or the arrangement of negative ions will have a uniform distance between them, and it will create its own atmosphere around it, so that the asymmetry what is observed is rectified. So the time lag which is required is called as a relaxation time, and the phenomenon is called as a relaxation effect. So this is one effect so which leads to the decrease in the mobilities when an electrode or electricity is passed through the solution. This is one main effect. And the next effect is a electrophoretic effect. So this is another factor which acts as a drag and tends to decrease the velocity of the ion. Okay, so this is explained as follows. Each ion is hydrated. Okay, each ion is hydrated. Exactly, when we prepare a solution, so definitely we will prepare it in water. So when any chemical, say for example ammonium hydroxide or sodium hydroxide, whatever, when it is dissolved or when it comes in contact with the water, definitely it will get hydrated. Okay, so each ion is hydrated. When the positive ion moves towards the cathode, so that is what the phenomenon. So positive ion has to move towards the cathode. The ionic atmosphere with the associated solvent molecules move in a direction which is opposite to that of the ion, that is towards the anode. Okay, so the movement of the molecules will be in the opposite direction. That means, so it will move towards the anode. Similarly, the negative ion moves towards the anode. The ionic atmosphere with the associated water molecules moves in the opposite direction, that is towards the cathode. Here the movement will be against, that means in the opposite direction of the passage of the electricity. So due to this reason, so each ion has to swim against oppositely moving solvent molecules. Okay, so here the solvent molecules are the water molecules, the hydrated molecules. Those hydrated molecules will give an opposition for the cations and anions of the chemical which has been prepared with the help of that solution, and that is the reason why each ion has to swim against the oppositely moving solvent molecules. So what happens then? So this tends to slow down the ions, and this effect is called as electrophoretic effect. Okay, so thus both the effects tend to decrease. Both the effects means, so one is asymmetric effect and another one is electrophoretic effect. Both the effects tend to decrease the velocity of ions of the strong electrolyte. As a result, the value of equivalent conductance at any concentration is lower than the value at infinite dilution. Okay, so here the infinite dilution is represented as lambda infinity. Okay, so due to this reason, rather than finding out the equivalent conductance of unknown solution at any concentration, we are going to use the term that is lambda infinity. That is because here if the asymmetric effect and electrophoretic effect is not seen in between those ions in their movement towards the cathode and anode, we need not to worry. But these two effects will make the ions to decrease their velocity. Okay, the effect of movement of those ions is decreased, the velocity is going to get decreased. So for this reason we are going to use a term which is called as lambda infinity. Okay, at infinite dilutions the electrical effects are practically negligible. That means, so these electrical effects, that is one is asymmetric effect and another one is electrophoretic effect, so they are practically negligible, and hence the equivalent conductance reaches a limiting value which is represented as a lambda infinity. For a univalent electrolyte, considering all these factors, so Debye-Huckel derived the relationship between equivalent conductance and concentration. Okay, so this is the new relationship between the equivalent conductance and the concentration, which has been deduced by Debye-Huckel, keeping in consideration of the effects which are observed, that is one is asymmetric effect and electrophoretic effect. He gave a relationship that is lambda, that is actually the equivalent conductance is equal to the infinite or the equivalent conductance at infinite dilution minus A plus B into lambda into the square root of C. Here A and B are called as a constants. Okay, so A and B are constants, and one thing we have to note here is this is an equation for a straight line. That means a linear equation. We will observe a linearity here. This is an equation for a straight line, hence a plot of lambda, that is equivalent conductance versus square root of concentration, is a straight line with the intercept which is equal to lambda infinity. Okay, so this is how the Debye-Huckel theory explains that due to the electric effects, so we are going to neglect the practical differences which we can observe in the movement of the ions, and by taking the equivalent conductance at infinite dilutions we can find out the actual inductance, that is actual equivalent conductance of a given unknown solution. Okay, so this is how Debye-Huckel theory explains how to find out the equivalent conductance. And next part is the transport number. So what is meant by transport number? So transport number is defined as the fraction of the total quantity of electricity carried by each kind of the ion of the electrolyte. Okay, so say for example electrolyte is nothing but a solution a solution which contains both cations and anions, and in that solution, so the electricity is present. That means the current has been passed. So the electrolyte, see, if you take a solution in a beaker, if you prepare a solution and keep it in a beaker, we call it as solution. If you immerse an electrode to that beaker and switch on the current, then it is called as electrolyte. So this is the difference. Okay, so the electrolyte has both cations and anions. What does the transport number defines? Transport number defines that the fraction of total quantity of electricity. That means so T plus. So here it is represented as T plus. T plus means so this is the total quantity of electricity which has been carried by positive ion. T plus is a positive ion and T minus is the negative ion. That means T minus is of the total quantity of electricity which has been carried by anion. T plus is what is the total quantity of electricity which has been carried by cation. Okay, so this is how we are going to define the transport number. So let out of total quantity of electricity is called as Q. Okay, so the total quantity of electricity which is present in that electrolyte is called as Q, and Q plus is the Q plus and Q minus is the, so the total amount of electricity which has been carried by positive and negative ions respectively. Okay, so we are going to represent it in this equation. So T plus is equals to Q plus divided by Q means, so Q plus is the total amount of electricity which has been carried by the cation, that particular cation, and Q is the total amount or total quantity of the electricity. So in the same way, so we are going to do for the anion also. Okay, so this is how we will find out the transport number of each ion of the electrolyte. Okay, and next is during electrolysis, that is Hittorf's rule. What does Hittorf's rule says that during electrolysis, loss in concentration at any electrode is proportional to the mobility of the ion moving away from it. Okay, so this is what Hittorf's rule says. That means, so when electrolysis is taking place, so electrolysis means when electricity is passed through the solution, we'll observe loss in concentration. Loss in concentration at any electrode is proportional to the mobility. That means how fast or in what way, in which manner the ion is moving, the mobility is directly proportional to the loss in concentration. That means if the ion, any cation or anion, if it is moving away from the electrode, so then we will observe the loss in concentration. So this is what the Hittorf's rule explains about. Okay, so next is about determination of transport number of an ion by Hittorf's method using unattackable electrodes. Okay, so this we will discuss in our next class. Thank you.